That's why it's known amongst the Muslims that the best brother to another brother is Moses, right? I mean, the guy says, "Oh Allah, make my brother a prophet. Deputize him in the battle." By God, that's just the coolest brother you could ever have. Harun, as we call him in Arabic, or Aaron in English, right? So Aaron becomes the spokesman, and Moses performs the miracles and makes the decisions, right? Moses is a senior prophet. There's no way to doubt that from the great of the prophets, according to Islam. And so we know what happens, and Moses has to go back and in front of the court and pronounce the truth. There's only one God. We are the sons of Adam. We are born free. We are not slaves of any other man, and we worship no other man. There is only one God, and no one else is worthy of worship. My people are free. Let my people go. For the pharaohs, that was just ludicrous, right? I mean, who the hell do you think you are? Are you the same guy who tuck-tailed out of here years ago? And then we know the story of the snakes and the sorcerers of the pharaoh using whatever technology they had, holographic or magic. They threw their staffs to the ground and turned them into snakes. Moses threw his staff to the ground and it turned into a snake. But Allah's miracles are not magic. They're the will of Allah. And for Allah, this isn't some world that they use their extra alien technology and sorcery powers to control. Allah is the one who says be and it is, right? What Allah gave to Moses, his snake goes and swallows all the snakes. What actually, at that time, was proof for them of their technology that's not possible. What you just did is something that only the Lord Most High can do. And what happened to all the sorcerers in Pharaoh's court? They did what all believers do when they hear the truth. They fell down and put their head on the ground and said what? We believe in the Lord Most High. And for that, the Pharaoh obviously killed them, you know, because that didn't really go well with the Pharaoh in the middle of Pharaoh's castles. And Moses went through some more trials and the different plagues and different things that happened, and a lot of turning the water into red, and then the final edition where the pharaohs could no longer compete with the God of Moses and said, fine, just let your people go. We know that we have the story of a very similar story of the smoke coming and the sons of Egypt, the firstborns of their bloodline, dying. A very specific reference to what was mixing in their blood. Possibly an indication that their blood was impure, right? Meaning that we are not sure what kind of blood they had. Were they hybrid breeding with other jinns and other races? We know that after this point, the children of Israel escaped from Egypt, and we have the dramatic scene where Moses is at the edge of the water, and the children of Israel are doubting Moses's true messengership, unfortunately, and it's a repeating story that occurs in their community, and it's important to note that because it plays an important point later on in the story, and it's important for you to understand the plot as we tell the tale. But Moses obviously has the power to part the Red Sea, and not some nonsense like you hear some modern day pseudoscientists describe that at certain points the Red Sea was a marshy area that you could possibly walk through. No, the descriptions of the Quran talking about Moses is very clear that the sea was parted with walls of water. So be it by the commandment of the Lord, and Allah can do anything, but like anything, Allah orders his servant to put his staff into the water and the water parts. And the people are saved by another miracle, and they go across the Red Sea again to the other side. And they got into better ground, and Pharaoh and his armies are destroyed in the oceans of the sea. Now, at this point, we have to tell you a little bit about the truth of the story. Because we've been saying and talking about the children of Israel, and when we talk about the children of Israel, there's always a misunderstanding, especially between Muslims and Jews, that we're talking about two groups that are diametrically opposed and hate each other. What are the fundamentals of faith? Muslims believe La ilaha illallah. There's only one God. And all of those who are continuing to believe in that and understand the articles of faith, that there are going to be multiple prophets with multiple books, all being revealed by the true Lord, in a chain that will continue, and signs will be there, and all prophets told them of the signs, all the way to a certain amount of prophets, and then there will be false prophets, and then there will be the end. And that there are angels made of light who do not disobey and do the commandments of their Lord, and there are other races known as jinn, and there are many different races. We're not sure how many. We know of specific references from the Quran of Sunnah from different types of jinn. They're not all the same kind. There's multiple races of them. And we know that the other sign is what? That there are books and prophets, and there's a day of judgment, and all the other similar ideas. And so this idea that Muslims and Jews are opposed to each other, or that Christians and Jews are opposed to each other, or this idea that the Jews are some kind of secretive cult type internal society, well, there's a lot of truth in that, and there's a lot of misconception in that. Just like we talk about the hotconflict.com website, all the misconceptions about Islam. If I'm going to tell you the truth about Jews, then I have to tell you the truth about the story and the way they understood it. And so let's go back. We always say the Jews are weird. In what way? They had this strange thing where they kept to themselves, and they were specific to their tribes, and they intermarried, and they did all kinds of strange things. Well, what just happened, ladies and gentlemen? See, you've been told the story, but didn't really get the story altogether, because nobody put together the myths and tales properly. And perhaps not even all of the children of Israel themselves really knew what was going on inside the holiest of holies of the temples. But Moses and the leaders of the Jews knew. They knew what I'm about to tell you. They knew that they were aliens, and they knew that there was probably some kind of interbreeding between the races. And they knew that even there was interbreeding between what? Some of the alien races of jinns and humans, the blood of Adam. That's insane, they thought, right? They thought at that time, this is just out of control. And so they've left the place of Pharaoh, where some of the knowledgeable of the children of Israel have seen what's really going on with the black magic and the technology from the other side, both technology and the supernatural powers of them as a different interdimensional being, and the ability to manipulate and do telepathy, and their powers to be able to control smokeless fire and plasma power, electricity, or whatnot. And modern day scientists are only now beginning to admit that within the houses of the Pharaoh they had batteries and electricity and technology that they had learned to make, possibly from the other alien races. Some people are still not willing to admit that, but talk to any Muslim scholars, they could have been telling you that for 1,500 years. What scientists are only debating, is this a possible theory today on the History Channel? No offense, History Channel, I love History Channel, since we're putting in a plug there. Because you're supposed to look back at your history and try and understand the story. And so, where do we get? We get to the point where Moses is leading the people out to go to their promised land. But they know the world is filled with all kinds of strange things, and the aliens have been possibly interbreeding. And there are hybrids and giants and morphs of all kind. We have got to keep our bloodline pure. Otherwise, we're going to lose the war. Do you understand the significance now of what the children of Israel understood?